Hi, this is Dr. Greg Ellis, the day after cheat day. That really hit a nerve. I had 12 comments on the video about that. I have them printed out here. Take a look at them. The guy who actually did the cheating is a young man, and he says, and this is the young man who said he felt so bad. So the cheat day is not about eating 200 to 300 grams of carb. He wants to eat a piece of cake every now and then, and his mom makes him. That's not going to bother you, and that should not make you feel bad either, physically. So that's fine. So he's okay. Now the next issue is somebody telling me that on a low-carb diet there's a metabolic advantage. They lose weight faster with fewer calories than the other way around. All I can tell that individual is that these things have actually been measured in the laboratory, not speculated upon based on what you think you ate and what you think you counted. Now, I have discovered over many, many years of doing this that people do not count correctly even though they think they're being anal about it, and that they do. But this stuff has been tested many times. There is no metabolic advantage to a low-carb diet at all. So I suggest if you really want to get a handle on this, you do the titration method. You make up a liquid diet of known calorie content, and you drink your food for a couple weeks. And you do one on a higher number of calories and another one on low carb, and see what actually happens to your weight. And that will take the guesswork out of it, because I think you're guessing. Okay, next. One individual says, I don't think it's necessary to carb load and keep the carb intake the same, and need to have 80 grams of carb. So that's good. You're right. You don't need a low carb load. The person lost 30 pounds, and a few times I've cheated and eaten chips, bread, or pizza. I really do crave these foods. Okay, so that's good. That's no problem doing that. But that's not really cheating. This is not a no-carb diet. It's a carb-restricted diet. Cheating would be, really cheating would be when you eat 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrate in the course of a day. That's a cheat. That's a big-time cheat. Okay, next. Someone talking about the rate of weight loss that health experts recommend, and I agree with this person completely. They put an arbitrary number on this, like 2 pounds a week. It's just utter nonsense. You can lose as much as you want. If you starve yourself, you can lose weight a lot faster than that. And during World War II, in Europe, people lost a tremendous amount of weight. And they actually were healthier at the end of the war than they were when they went in. This was particularly true in Switzerland and in several other countries. So that's all utter nonsense as well. Okay. Now, then we get into, here's an interesting one. Here are the reasons I've read about cheat days. Refill glycogen stores. Why do you want to refill your glycogen stores? The rate of fat accumulation is related to how much glycogen you have in your body. So if your glycogen's loaded up, you're going to make fat faster. And there's no need to have glycogen if you're not relying on carbohydrates as a source of fuel. But this is still the common misconception, and I referred to this yesterday. People are of the belief that carbohydrates are the primary fuel of the body. They are not. Fat is. And to make fat the primary fuel, you have to reduce your carbohydrate intake and induce the body's ability to burn its fat and the fat that you consume. Glycogen is irrelevant. Increase metabolism by reintroducing large amounts of glucose. Stated by somebody by the name of Milos Sarcev. You're not going to increase your metabolism. I've gone over this before. Metabolism does not increase. You can't change it. So this is an individual who seemingly has some popularity. I wouldn't pay the slightest bit of attention to anything he has to say, because obviously if he got this wrong, he's getting other stuff wrong. Mauro Pasquale, I know of him, met him many years ago, and he is of the carb loading, 5-day carb depletion, then eating carbs on the weekend to fill up your glycogen level. Now, he is a medical doctor. He's not a nutritional biochemist, so even then, back years ago when he was doing this, I knew he didn't know what he was talking about, and he obviously hasn't changed his tune. But all you have to do is some basic research in biochemistry, and you'll find out that you don't. Well, he's of course a glycogen loading supporter. He thinks you've got to have glycogen, and you've got to have high levels of glycogen in your muscles to perform well. And this is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. Using the anabolic effects of insulin. Insulin is far more anabolic to fat tissue than it is to muscle tissue. People don't seem to understand that idea. So if you're secreting insulin, you're going to lay down fat a lot faster than you're going to lay down muscle. Insulin is anabolic to fat tissue more than it is to muscle tissue. So this is a very nice way, eating carbs, create insulin push, and drive yourself to get fatter. So that was that. And then satisfy the carb sugar cravings. Well, that's, you have to make a decision on that. If you have carb cravings, then go ahead, satisfy them. I don't crave them myself. I used to, but I don't any longer, because I've psychologically, not only have I become fat adapted, but I've psychologically adapted to this lifestyle, and this is just what I do, and I don't crave carbs. So next one, the individual talks about the other low-carb advocates have advised doing a cheat day or meal to supercompensate glycogen stores in the muscles and liver. I've also heard that a cheat meal is good so the body doesn't adapt and slow down metabolism. Well, again, you're getting more wrong information. Metabolism has nothing to do with the type of food that you're eating. It's determined by your body size. That's that. This is basic common physiology. And I explained to you yesterday in the video how there's different metabolic pathways for processing carbs and processing fat. They respond differently to different foodstuffs. And you don't need glycogen. That's just one of the grand mythologies of all time. But that all comes out of the whole glycogen loading experiments that were started back in the late 1930s. They found that athletes who'd been depleted of carbs would become exhausted much more quickly. But of course those studies were always done over the span of about 7 days. When the studies were finally extended out to a longer period of time, the rats consuming and the humans consuming the high-fat diet always outperformed the carbohydrate eating critters. Always, always, always. So those studies are available. So the idea that the carbs will maximize your performance is also nonsense. It's fat adaptation and being able to burn fat as a primary source of fuel that will maximize your endurance capacity and even your power capacity. So very interesting. Put some more comments in. It gives me some questions to answer. Obviously, I've been doing this stuff for a long, long time, and I think I know it really well. And I tend not to listen to some of these other guys who I know have not done their homework, because I have done my homework. It's just that simple. All right, that's Dr. Greg Ellis. In the aftermath of cheat day,